over the past half an hour, you've heard me in conversation with Radhika Gupta, CEO of Edelweiss Asset Management. And now we go towards my favorite part of the show, which is the audience Q&A. So this is a question that I have, and we talked about women leaders when we were, coming up with the prep for this conversation as well. Why don't we see enough women leaders? Or let me rephrase the question. What is it that women can do differently to get into more leadership positions?
So this is a personal pet peeve. And I think women just there's one thing women can do, and it is to dream bigger. I don't think women are aspirational enough, and it breaks my heart to say this. Women leadership is an outcome. People like me, women CEOs, etc., we are an outcome. Trying to solve for us is not a great idea. You have to solve for women in middle management, because if there are 50% women in middle management, 20-30% will become CEOs. The biggest problem, and I hate this stereotype, but I'm going to tell you a real story. Girls don't ask enough. And if there's any young girl on this conversation, I would just tell her, dream bigger. Many of you would know this event. You remember the Howdy Modi event that happened in Texas? Yes. This is a few months ago. So Modi had visited, and he and Donald Trump were done, and there was this big spectacle event, etc. And then Modi and Donald Trump are walking back, and a bunch of dancers are standing there. They were the Indian folk dancers who had performed for him. And they're walking hand, like Modi and Trump are walking. The dancers are there, and they walk by. And after the dancers, there's this little boy in a white outfit. You may have seen this visual. The boy is like 9 years old. The dancers are like probably 20. The boy taps Trump on his shoulder, and he's like, "Yo, can I have a selfie?" He asked.
Fearless.
He asked for the selfie, and guess what? He got the selfie. Now, the sad thing is, all the women, when he asked, and he was the last in line to ask, were like, "I can't believe he got the selfie." Well, you know why he got the selfie? It wasn't because he was special. He got the selfie because he asked. And I wish that women asked for more opportunities in the workplace. I can only wish that you ask. Again, I don't want to upset the men on the show, but it is, a lot of the men in my office probably think they're more qualified than they are. But the women think they're far less qualified. So please ask. And I think asking, if someone is, I often have women who I give opportunities to, and they're like, "Am I qualified to do this? Will I be able?" If I've given you an opportunity, or if your boss has given you an opportunity, they're sure you're qualified, and they're going to make sure you succeed. So dream bigger, girls. I mean, that's the one advice I have.
Thank you. And, like the cliched saying goes, that behind every successful woman, there is, I'm hoping, a successful partner and a successful husband.
I hope so.
Can we talk about your husband, Nalin, a quick minute? You guys have been together for a very long time. You worked together, I believe it was in the US, and you moved back and you started your business together. What has that experience been like? Because being in a relationship and working together is not really an ideal combination.
Oh, it's not easy. So Nalin and I met on the first day of college at campus. We did the same curriculum. And we met and we started comparing grades on the first day. And then he realized I was smarter than him, which I was. I graduated with a higher GPA than him. And then when I started my restaurant, he was my first customer. And for a $5 dish, he would leave a $10 tip. So I kind of figured out that there was something going on. And we've known each other since we were 19. In quite a long time. Working with your spouse is not the easiest thing to do, I have to say. I would not recommend it. The good part of it is, and we've had a great experience with Forefront, but the honest answer is it's not easy. The good part is you're very understanding. So actually we both work for Edelweiss now. He also works in the asset management business. So we are very understanding of each other. Like if I have work, he knows why. Like you don't have to explain things, or like, if it's a really bad market day and I'm stressed, I don't have to explain to Nalin why I'm stressed. I think that is phenomenal. But there is no separation between work and life. The other challenge with it, I have to say, from a business point of view and from a personal finance point of view, is your personal finances become very risky and very conservative. Nalin and I actually realized this in 2008 because we had just got married and we were young, so even from an investment point of view, we had made very aggressive equity investments because we said we were young. And then we realized in 2008 that, both our careers were really badly hit in the crisis because everything happened. And we were married to each other. So we had no household diversification. So now we manage that a lot more smartly because both of us are in high risk professions. But it's something you have to manage. Huh? It's not easy.
And something that you have to really talk about, probably every day.
You have to talk about it. You have to manage. Like even now, we're stuck at home in this apartment. But he works out of one room, I work out of one room, and we talk at the end of the day over dinner or a glass of wine. So we're not constantly in each other's faces.
Great. So that I think the demarcation of space is important as well.
That's very important. Otherwise, you'll kill each other.
So well, hopefully that doesn't happen anytime soon. We've got a question from Amit Gupta in Ireland. He's working as a financial controller. Again, he's asking for your advice post-COVID. Do you think there would be a good opportunities in India as well?
I think there will be good opportunities anywhere post-COVID. I think definitely one of the conversations that's happening from a corporate boardroom point of view around the world is shifting away post-COVID businesses and their dependence from China. And I think India in general is very well poised to capture that opportunity. So to that extent, I think there will be very good opportunities in India. As I said, COVID or no COVID, I think, and I gave you an example of my own industry. I think India is just in a great position to capitalize on some. I mean, the one thing I like about India versus the US is in India, the problems you're solving are so basic. Like your prime minister is still asking people to open a bank account. In the US, you're solving third order problems. In India, you're solving first order problems. And so I believe, I mean, in some sense, you've got a plethora of opportunities. I will also tell you practical advice. It's not that easy today to move back from overseas to India. I see a lot of friends actually struggle with this. So you also have to make sure that your skill set is adaptable to India. I think India is a great place to move back to, but please make sure your skill set is adaptable to India when you move back, because it's not easy. The demand for people coming, and this is a sad thing to say, the demand for people coming back from overseas for India is actually less than the supply of people coming back today.
True. And your skill set and your mindset, because obviously your lifestyle is going to be majorly impacted.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing, someone told me this when I had moved back from the US is like, when people come back from India, they have when they come back from the US or any other parts of the world, they look at India with a tremendous amount of superiority around them. यहाँ तो कुछ नहीं हो सकता और यहाँ तो बहुत गंदा है और ये तो बहुत basic. I mean, all that stuff. And I don't think you should have that. Again, it's my government example. Don't judge India when you're coming back, because it's a different set of circumstances. And the people who are succeeding in India and building businesses also bring something to the table that's very unique. India is not an easy place to survive. So when you come back, come prepared for that.
Absolutely. But if you do it right, the opportunities are tremendous.
Oh, absolutely.
We've got a couple of finance questions as well. You've always been a person to state that asset allocation is really important. This situation is a classic example to help us understand that. What do you suggest for young individuals who are in the working class to start off when they start their careers? And this is Roshan.
Okay. So financial advice, I'm glad someone asked. So super important. Broadly, it means, in English, don't put all your eggs in one basket. At least have some holdings in equities and some holdings in bonds. For young people who are starting their careers, a couple of pieces of advice. You can start by having, and how much to allocate, I think, to equities and bonds is something that's very personal. As I said, I was young, but I had a super high risk career, so I shouldn't have been hugely allocated to equities. But otherwise, young people should allocate to equities in normal circumstances. There are great, and I don't want to get too technical. There are great asset allocation products there. If you email me, I'll talk about them. That you can start off with. Otherwise, there are basic equity mutual funds, debt mutual funds that you can use to start doing your asset allocation. I also recommend that young people who start get into the habit of doing an SIP, not only in equity, but also in debt. So if you have 100 rupees of income, say 20 rupees is going to be my saving. Just assume it's like a tax, because the biggest thing young people struggle with is the physical concept of saving. True. And of that 20 rupees, put 10 into an equity fund and do an SIP, put 10 into a debt fund and do an SIP, and you'll gradually see your corpus start building up. And I think as a young person, if you get this habit right, then you'll be in great shape. I think one of the best things and one of the few good things I did financially in my younger days is start saving early. That helped me start Forefront Capital 4 years later.
And they say it's almost a habit like anything else.
It's a habit. Call it a tax. Just say it's a tax. I have to do it.
Absolutely. So One more financial question. What Rahul is asking, what's the disruptive transformation which you foresee in consumer behavior related to investment in general and asset allocation in particular?
Honestly, nothing right now. I think consumers, in India, you can't talk disruption because when you have 4% of your investment base that is investing in markets, disruption is a word that works really nicely in the US. But in India, your problem is basic adaptation of financial products. And hopefully adaptation through digital means will start happening. That for sure will happen. So more and more young people are ready to buy financial products. They're ready to buy online. And this is not disruptive, but young people are far more aspirational about the money than their previous generation. Their previous generation was very happy to sit in an FD and pay PPF, etc. The young generation is a lot more aspirational. The first question I get from a 25-year-old today is not how to invest in mutual funds. It's how to invest in Bitcoin, which is a bad idea. Correct. But that shows you how aspirational the young generation is. But India is not a place where you can see disruptive transformation in consumer behavior. You just need adaptation.
True. No, well said. And I think even the risk-taking ability is something that you see in a lot of the younger generation as well. And that is translating over into the financial decisions that they're making.
Yeah, it's huge.
Okay. So, Radhika, what inspires you? Who are you inspired by?
Oh, there are lots of people. So my current favorite, I'll tell you leaders I like. I really like Jacinda Ardern, who's the Prime Minister of New Zealand. She's young. She's a lady. She's 39. And I love the way she communicates. She stands to me for what New Age leadership is. It's honest. It's accessible. It's sitting in your pajamas while you're putting your kid to sleep and addressing your nation and saying, we have a problem and we're going to solve it. And I think that's a model of leadership I like. I love Sanjeev Mehta, who's CEO of HUL. I've got to meet him a couple of times. And one of the statements that he made, in this whole COVID period, everyone is making statements about the world after COVID, and this is what will happen, and this will be what happens to the market, and this consumer trend. And he, heading the largest consumer products company in the country, is saying, I don't know what consumption trends will be like. And I think that speaks to the humility of the man and the ability to say, sometimes it's okay not to know. I'll just do the best I can. So I like that. I'm tremendously inspired by Nandan Nilekani. Because if I think of the career I want to build myself in the future, it's someone who's done a lot of work in the private space, but then also contributed not with money, but with time in terms of policy. 45 years, by the time I'm 45, I definitely want to do something in government. So I think Nandan's career path is something that tremendously inspires me. But I think 5 years ago, to be honest, like most people in financial services, I was very driven by money and business and consumer, etc. I think what makes me very happy today is impact. And I genuinely say this. I think that part of me has changed after I did Girl with a Broken Neck. I think when you're able to positively touch someone's life, when someone from Varanasi sends you a card saying that because I saw your talk, I convinced my parents to let me take a job in finance and move to Bombay. It's pretty priceless. So I think, I work for impact and really not money. You should be paid fairly, of course. But I work for impact.
No, and that's great to hear. And that was actually going to be my follow-up question to you, which is, you've done Wall Street, you've become an entrepreneur, you're CEO now. Where next? Where does Radhika Gupta go next?
So till yesterday, I was sure that I wanted to join the government, and I do want to join the government. I don't know when I'll do it, maybe 10 years down the line. I want something at an India level. I do believe brighter talent from the private sector needs to join the government. So I want to do that, hopefully in my 40s. At some point, I want to become a female monk. That's
a female monk, okay.
That's struck my head since yesterday. Now everyone's going to laugh at me. But I've been listening, and I'm not a very spiritual person, but now I think at some point in my life, I just want to become a monk or a speaker or someone who just makes people happy. So maybe after my government stint, I'll do that.
No, I think you're already doing a brilliant job. Sorry?
There are no female monks out there, so it's a very open space for women.
No competition.
Yeah, no competition there.
No, but I think you're already well on your way to inspiring people. You're well on your way to being, a positive influence on a lot of people's lives. So being very cognizant of the time as well, Radhika, I know I blocked off only an hour from you. So is there anything that you'd like to add? Is there anything that I've left out that you can think of?
No, I just want to say thank you to the number of people who've actually joined this. It was a wonderful conversation. If I haven't answered your question, please drop me a tweet at, or someone just said there's a female monk. Okay, maybe I'll be the second. Sorry. Drop me a tweet at Radhika Gupta and I'll try and answer the question. And the one thing I can tell you is that people always say stay home and stay safe. I always like to add stay happy. The hardest thing to control at this time is your own morale. So please be happy and make others around you happy.
Great advice for all of us. Thank you so much. Please stay happy yourself as well, Radhika. And we look forward to catching up once all of this is over.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Siddharth. Bye-bye.
Enjoy your weekend. Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone, for watching. This is, as you can tell, been a very, very authentic and real conversation with another CEO. Look forward to seeing you all next time. Thank you.